Larry, welcome into the 91 Alfa Romeo for Talking with Tony and the Alfa. Thanks for doing this.
My pleasure. It's probably the most unique interview situation I've ever been in, so I'm enjoying it.
Well, maybe we'll try the Ferris wheel next time in Seattle.
I'll pass on that.
I'll be screaming the whole time. Just back from the All-Star game. How many All-Star games is this for you?
This was number 20, believe it or
gosh.
not. Yeah, my first one was 1987 in Oakland, and then there was a stretch when I did all of them, and then when I became a columnist, I stopped, and Brian Divish, the beat writer, did them from 2004 through last year, but then he had something else going on, so there I was in D.C. This week.
Nice. Can you say that? I mean, this is my opinion. Some agree, some disagree. That the baseball All-Star game is the most authentic of all the All-Star games.
Oh, I would definitely agree. It's the one where you play the game pretty similar to the way you play it in the regular season, except for the way the pitchers are deployed. You know, guys are going two. Only one guy went 2 innings. Maybe a couple guys went 2 innings, but other than that, they're trying. Unlike the Pro Bowl and you know, NBA, they don't play defense, but they're out there playing baseball, and so I would agree it's the most authentic and the best of the All-Star games.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, you know, at some point, I know there's going to be a discussion in coming years as to whether baseball, which used to be our national pastime, could ever become that again. Football's had its issues and so forth. I don't know that it'll ever happen, but where's the popularity at right now for MLB as far as the country goes?
Well, it's interesting. It's on a sort of a national level. I think it's way down, but it's become a local sport. The telecasts of each team's games are hugely popular.
Sure.
You know, they win the ratings in their town, but you look at like the ratings of the top 20 athletes, Q ratings and all that, and you won't even find a baseball player. So I think it's thriving in the local markets, but it's waning as a sort of a national presence.
Yeah, I think that's a great observation. Obviously, in some markets like Seattle, like Cleveland, like New York, like Boston, unlike Baltimore, it's going to be bigger this year, and it sort of goes along with winning, obviously, doesn't it? I mean, it seems to.
Sure, it does, but you know, it's great programming. It's the daily drama, day in and day out. You know, when I was little, and I'm sure the same with you, games weren't on TV. They thought that showing the games would ruin the gate attendance.
Right.
When it turned out to be just the exact opposite. You know, I grew up in L.A. and there were 18. I remember this vividly. There were 18 games on TV a year. There were the 9 road games against the Giants, and then 9 Sunday telecasts, and that was it.
Yeah.
And now, if you know, people were up in arms when there was the Facebook game.
Right.
You know, one game out of 162 they didn't get to see, and I was thinking, boy, you should have been around when I was a kid.
Well, it was mostly radio. I mean, that's where I learned to love the game. Was Mel Allen calling Yankee games back east for you? I'm sure it was Vin Scully and some of the other greats, most of whom are gone now. I do want to ask you a couple things. We'll do a little rapid fire thing. First of all, this is my 91 Alfa. What was your first car? Do you remember what that was?
Sure, it was a Mustang, a Ford Mustang that I got but it was a junkyard Mustang. It was beige, but the door was green.
Okay,
and so I got it for $500 when I was a junior in college because I got a job and I needed a car to drive to it, and I didn't have any money, so I couldn't even tell you what year it was. I had it for about 3 months, and then I was on the Bay Bridge. I was going to Cal, and we were stopped in traffic, and somebody didn't realize that and rammed into me and totaled it. So that was the end of my first car.
Favorite baseball book? I'm sure I know you're a reader.
Yeah, I would say Ball 4 by Jim Bouton. Right. You know, there's a lot of baseball books I like. The Boys of Summer by Roger Kahn, and you know, Moneyball was really excellent, and but Ball 4, it came out in 71, I think, when I was about 13. Kind of the formative years of becoming a baseball fan and everything, and it just illuminated what it was really like in clubhouses. So you know, and it stands to I think the test of time to this day. I still pick it up and read parts of it, and I've had the pleasure of talking to Jim Bouton, meeting him and interviewing him, you know, dozens of times. So that even adds to it.
The other thing, baseball movies. I've got so many that I like. What would be number one for you?
Yeah, you know, I like all of the ones that would come to mind. Field of Dreams and The Natural. One that I'm not sure if you consider it a baseball movie, but Naked Gun, the scene at the end at what's purported to be Dodger Stadium, but it was actually Angel Stadium.
Right.
It is about 20-minute baseball scene, which is absolute hilarious classic. But I'd say Bull Durham is my favorite. And with Major League, a close second.
Yeah, no, I agree. And League of Their Own was one that I really liked too. The way that Tom Hanks and Madonna and all those great stars put that one together.
Yeah, I was covering the San Francisco Giants as the beat writer for the San Francisco Examiner, and they had a special showing when the movie came out. We were in Atlanta. I still remember it, and they invited the Giants media and the Giants teams for a special screening, and that's where I first saw it. Was with like Will Clark and Kevin Mitchell and those guys, and everybody loved it. I mean, I could tell right away it was going to be a huge hit.
A couple rapid fire questions to wrap it up. Favorite ball player? Is there any way you can pick one favorite ball player?
Yeah, I can, absolutely. I think anyone who knows me knows who I'm going to say. Sandy Koufax, grown up in L.A. in the '60s. By far my hero in baseball, my idol. Got to meet him once as a sports writer. That was a big thrill.
That's cool.
Yeah, so he's the guy that really made me a fan with his, I'll go to war saying that he's the best left-handed pitcher of all time.
Well, I agree, and a lot of people don't realize it, but he had a shaky start to his career. Sure. He made himself the best pitcher of all time. He struck out 15 Yankees in the '63 World Series, which I'll never forgive him for. But and then he quit maybe at the height of his game, or certainly close to the height of his game.
Yeah, it was 1966. He was 30 years old. He went 27-9 and struck out 350 guys and won the Cy Young and led the league in ERA. And then he walked away because of elbow problems that today they'd have they'd go in, they'd clear it up, and he probably would have pitched till he was 38.
Wow,
But to me, that kind of adds to his aura, sort of like Jim Brown, guys who went out on top with something left in their tank.
No, I agree.
And he's become this man of sort of mystery.
Yes.
That rarely does interviews. He's become a little more public now that he's almost 80 years old.
Yeah.
Or he might even be 80. I'm not sure, but there's an aura about Koufax that not many former athletes have.
Okay, I'm going to have you pick the two Mariner fans. I wonder if they'll get upset with you if you don't pick the M's. Could you pick a World Series two teams for the 2018, or do you want to just take a pass on that one?
I'll do it. Let's see. I'm bullish on the Yankees this year. Even going into the year in our special section, I think I picked the Yankees to win it all. So I'll stick with that. And the Dodgers, they just got Manny Machado yesterday. So I'll pick the Yankees over the Dodgers. I think Mariner fans would be happy just to have them end the playoff drought and make the playoffs. We'll do one step at a time.
Exactly. Well, Larry, I appreciate your time today, and thanks for checking out my baseball cards. You have many thousands more than I do, and it's a collection that'll go with you the rest of your life. Isn't it fun?
Yeah. I mean, I love looking at yours. I have mine in a very treasured spot in my house. And quick story, in the '91 World Series, I was at the World Series in Minnesota. And that's when that big Oakland fire happened, and we were living in Oakland. And my wife called me and said that we had to evacuate our house. And she said, "What should I take?" And I said, "Well, get my baseball cards."
It's all about perspective.
Make sure you get our daughter, but then get our baseball cards.
Larry, thank you.
Right.
Have a great season.
All right, thanks, Tony.